So
Too many vines.
my topic
Did you find
is
one?
going to be, I'm worried about it. Do you know why?
Why?
Because I don't really know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
But I know like,
could be like a
the
2-minute
general kind of feel of it.
Okay. All
And I'm
right.
just hoping, even though I know that it's probably not going to be the case, that you guys know what to talk about.
We can beat around the bush
But anyway,
until
so-
we find out what it is.
I tried to read about it, but it's like super long. So,
Okay.
anyways, so I was just reading CNN.com. And it's been something that's getting pretty big recently. So, war in Iraq, we left, sort of. And then ISIS moves in,
Uh-huh.
which I'm not even sure like what the shorthand is for that anymore, because it's like ISIL, ISIS. I don't know like which one is what and why they're different, or why we have multiple
point.
names for the same terrorist group.
I think they've all been starting to shorten it to just IS.
IS.
The Islamic State.
Oh, okay. Anyways, so I'm reading up on it a little bit, and they're the ones that are pushing back in Iraq. They've taken over a couple cities,
Yeah.
and so
They're the big bullies now. Most of the terrorist groups are now scared of these guys.
I'm definitely against war, but at the same time, like we did make the mess in Iraq, and so as much as I wouldn't want U.S. troops there, and then it comes back to the fact of what do you do? Like eventually, when you leave, like something's gonna happen. So they're talking about how
Sounds hungry.
they want to.
I need water.
They want to train the Iraqi so people to fight their own wars. But then I was reading like something about Syria. Is that like where they're at? Like the main base of ISIS or something?
I don't think it's the main base. I just think there's a lot of connections between
To Syria?
and it.
Okay.
But this is a very difficult subject. I've actually been reading up on some of it because I kind of on and off follow the news. And I don't stick with one news thing. I go between a bunch of different news places because, you know, they all advertise something a little bit different. They're all kind of biased in their way. So what I do is I go through a bunch of different ones, kind of piece together what is common in all of them. But the biggest problem that we have with the Middle East is we send in soldiers after September 11th and, you know, trying to take out this terrorist group, basically switch around this ruling that they have. But the problem is we're trying to accomplish something in a few years, you know, something that is the complete opposite of thousands of years of tradition. And so we can't exactly do that because this has been going back all the way to, I don't know, maybe Ishmael. I don't know, maybe farther. It's been going on for generations. And, you know, we come in, we introduce something that is completely foreign to them. So it's like trying to change generations of thought and tradition in a few years. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest problem we have because people are like, oh, we've been there too long. If you're trying to change something that's this deeply rooted, you know, we're going to have to be there for a long time.
And that comes to the question of like, do we even have the right to change that? And I'm of the opinion that no, we shouldn't have been there in the first place. But anyways, like, what has happened has happened. And so at this point, is it, I feel like it is our problem to fix it since we broke it.
We involved ourselves in it.
And
Whether or not it was in
Right.
good intent, we got ourselves
It's
involved.
like, I'm not going to argue the point of like, was it or wasn't it right? Because, you know, everyone
a
has
matter
their
of
opinion,
opinion.
whatever.
Matter of
But
opinion.
at this point, it's like, this is what it is. ISIS is pushing in, and supposedly, like, there's genocide and all this stuff. So, at what point is, because supposedly the whole world doesn't like ISIS, and I kind of understand why it's kind of on us to fix it, because we broke it. Like, ISIS probably wouldn't be having so much control had we not, like, wrecked Iraq. Anyways.
I don't know if we technically broke it or not. I think we just kind of...
I think it can be considered
think
broken if
there's-
it wasn't broken before we got there, and it is now. I'm not saying
I don't think it was specifically
it was
broken.
B,
I just think the
but-
power was shifted
right.
in such a way.
So I'm not saying like
it would have shifted anyway, because, you know, there's always this constant fighting going on. There's always going to be a shift. The question is how fast and how big.
so far as of yet there had never been like a terrorist group that overran an entire country. So just looking at that. Anyway, so ISIS, as far as like, supposedly we have all these allies that are also gonna help support, but no one like they won't say who they are or what they're gonna do. And then as far as I can tell, we just do airstrikes. And then they're talking about, oh, we won't put any more U.S. troops, combat troops, on the ground to fight ISIS. We're just gonna train the Iraqi people. And then Syrian rebels also.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that sounds like a bad idea. That sounds like what we did in Afghanistan to fight the Russians. And then they fought us later. So maybe we shouldn't train rebels anymore. I don't know. That's just me. But,
I think
yeah,
the problem
so-
is we don't have a clear discernment who is ally and who is enemy.
Yeah.
You know, you never know. And it really doesn't help that with terrorist groups like this, there's no big difference in uniform. It could be the person walking down the street. You never know.
it's true.
And so there is no clear distinctive over who is the enemy and who is not. It's all kind of mixed and mingled, which makes things like this difficult. Because we're having problems here in the U.S. We've had a person crying jihad in Chicago. We've had a woman in Colorado pleading guilty to plotting to help ISIS get into the U.S. We're having stuff like this kind of pop up all over. Denmark is having problems with pro-ISIS supporters rising up, and you know,
That's so weird to me.
it's no longer isolated. It's everywhere. And so I don't know. It's like I said, you don't know who the enemy is. You don't know the whole story behind what's going on. It's just there is no clear course of action, I guess you could say, unless you want to specifically focus on trying to stop genocides, trying to stop murders, stuff like that. And then once more it goes back to, well, now I've got to pick out the enemy. Who's the enemy?
Yeah.
So I think it's just a big jumble mess.
It is a mess over
I
there.
don't know if it's going to be taken care of anytime soon.
I don't like what Obama said about the whole ISIS thing, because it seemed like he was
Before he went to go golf?
Yeah. Before that, because to me it sounded like he was giving mixed signals, to where he was like, we're gonna take care of this, but at the same time we're just gonna let it happen.
We're gonna see what
run
we're
a
gonna-
course.
We're gonna. Well, he said like, I don't have a strategy
Yeah.
right
and
now.
then when he has kind of laid out a plan, but now ISIS is testing it. They're, you know, basically towing the line, saying, okay, how far is he really going to go?
Dude, did he mention something about the UN? Like, we should take this to UN and take
Yeah.
it, like, try and
He's
figure something
been,
out.
I don't
there's
know.
been this whole thing with the UN going on. UN wants, like some people in the UN want to strike hard and now. Others are like, no, you know, we gotta wait. It's just
The UN
I
is
don't know.
worthless.
I
honest.
like the idea of going to like the UN, because it is not just like our problem or Iraq's problem. It is like it's spreading,
it is a
and so
big
it's
problem.
like
But it's to the point
in
of
different
like,
places.
what is the UN gonna do? You know what I mean?
That's
Because
why
have
I
you
like
seen
the-
Hotel Rwanda?
yeah.
Yeah, like the UN is worthless. Like if the UN
I
doesn't stop mass genocide, they aren't gonna stop like a little terrorist.
Well, like here's the problem with that, is because it's like contained in its own country, though. That's why I was like genocide, because it was just happening in that country.
If that country's part of the UN, and they are sending people over there,
yeah.
like why? Like the UN, to my knowledge, has not really done anything.
Yeah.
No, but
that I
ISIS
can
has
think of.
captured a US or a UN convoy. That was
well, I guess if you
sent
piss
out.
off the UN, maybe eventually if you punch them in the face enough, they'll kick you
Yeah.
in the shin. Maybe I don't know.
It's just
If you punch the UN in the face, they'll just give you a tap on the wrist.
yeah.
you know, just stop it.
Yeah.
Ow, that hurt me.
I don't know.
Like I said, I like the idea of going to UN, because, you know, like, we need to figure this out. We need
Right.
to stop it. But yeah, at the same time, it's
That's
going
what
to the UN. It's very like it's very much just like a political thing, where it's like, oh, some people want it, some people don't. Some people want to wait, some people want to take
Well,
action right away.
yeah.
And it's just constant struggle of like, well, we can't really agree on anything, so we won't do a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not helping that here in the US, you know, everything is pretty much political now, and instead of trying, like, sitting there, it doesn't seem like they're really trying to focus on a big picture here, because now they're just, rather than trying to discuss things like this, I don't know behind the scenes, I don't know how much they're discussing. They're talking about amnesty, they're talking about immigration, they're talking about whether it's lawful or not to make a drug test for welfare constitutional.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, all these little things that are distracting from this picture, and I fault us for it because we don't like looking at things that may be bad. We're like, oh, this is stupid, this is bad, let's focus on something more positive.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I don't know, I try not to get too into stuff that's going on, just because everybody's always, conflicting over one thing or another. It's just this huge jumble, and there is no, distinction of, what to do, what to focus on. I don't know.
So
It's a hard thing.
yeah. That being said, I think we can agree with John Oliver that this is on Peru. It's Peru's chance
Yes.
to step up to the plate, to step up to the plate,
And take
stop
charge.
surfing with their alpacas, and get into Iraq and clean up this ISIS mess.
Right?
For once in their lives, do something. You know what I mean? The world's falling apart, and what are they doing?
Surfing.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Surfing with their alpacas.
they're in
Which,
their
by the
own
way, if you see that
paradise.
video, it's freaking hilarious. The alpaca's on the surfboard for like maybe a half a second before it just biffs it off. Every single time. Like, it has hooves. How is it supposed to stay on a surfboard?
Yeah, yeah.
But he taught his alpaca how to get on there in the first
Yeah,
place.
yeah, that's a
kinda
good. That's a good start.
I'm just watching. I'm like, this alpaca cannot be enjoying this at all. Just falling in the ocean over and over.
Is it a bad thing? Is if every time I think of ISIS, like I hear ISIS, I think of Archer, the cartoon show Archer.
I don't watch that show. So
Because
Haven't seen
okay,
it.
all right,
can-
with Archer, for those of you who don't know, Archer is a secret agent that works for ISIS, and ISIS is the secret agent company that is. Yeah.
They named their secret agent company the same as a terrorist organization.
Well, no. It's before ISIS came out, because like Archer.
Right. Well, I'm sure it existed, but they probably
It's probably like
Archer probably just didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's kind of
so
funny.
And so every time,
So every time you hear ISIS, you're like,
yeah, I think of Archer. Because
maybe that's
Archer
why they were
works for
trying to
ISIS.
change it to ISIL.
ISIL.
I think it was originally ISIL,
Oh, okay.
but now it's just more commonly known as ISIS. I don't know. Because I do know that the two distinctive groups there's ISIS and then there's Hamas.
Hummus?
I like hummus.
Sure, I'll have some hummus.
Hummus is delicious.
I think Hamas.
Hamas?
Is that how you say it?
Are you talking about the
Hamas?
Iranian guy?
I don't know. It's that group that's fighting against Israel right now.
Oh,
Right.
Palestine, the guy.
Yeah, that.
But it was this.
Crap, I forget his
It's
name.
I was gonna say that Jew, but it's
HAMAS.
He's not Jewish. He's the opposite of
Yeah, I
Jewish.
know. That's what I was like.
No, I don't know what exactly is going on with them. I just read that they had temporarily agreed to a ceasefire in Gaza, but that
Yeah.
was like a couple weeks ago.
That's just a
So I
that's
don't
a
know
war
what's
that's
going
never
on.
going to be over.
No, it's never gonna be.
Because
Not until
unlike
the
Iraq,
second
they
coming.
can't just leave and go
Mm.
back to their country.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're kind of stuck where they are.
So I think it's weird when people want to go to the Holy Land, because there's a war going on right now.
Yeah,
over there. And
like,
let's go
always.
visit. Yeah,
Yeah.
So let's go visit Israel, the Holy Land.
Well, Israel's doing pretty well for themselves,
Yeah.
all things considered.
Not surprised.
They win a lot, surprisingly,
Yeah.
against odds that are usually against them. But we do give them missile defense systems and
We
stuff,
do.
so that's
We do.
cool.
And if we learn something from World War Z, if there's ever a zombie
Zombie
apocalypse,
Something on the screen.
they're the first one to
Oh
stop.
yeah, it does that every once in a while.
Okay, it was this little thing that popped up. I was like, what the heck?
They're the first one to build the wall.
Yeah,
Yep.
Millie knows.
that was a good movie.
It was a good movie.
That was a good movie.
Speaking of which, Amazon Instant Video is now on Android. I found that out today. I don't
Yeah.
know if it came out today that way, but yeah, because I was always really irritated because I could never watch Amazon Prime unless I somehow got Adobe Player on my phone, and then I'd have to go to the website and just try and stream it that way.
It's probably because their phone came out, like the Amazon phone.
Yeah, but the thing is, they've usually limited it to their products. Like, even though it's Android based, it was only if you had a Kindle Fire or a Kindle phone or something like that. Then you could watch instant video.
Yeah.
But now it's for any Android phone. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Kind of cool.
So
yeah, and we just brought this conversation full circle.
Full circle, right back to the phone.
Yeah.
Yep.
There it is.
Man.
Now we know. Like,
every time Millie starts the conversation, we always like go, and then it's like the kind of a theme throughout the whole thing. Then we
What
bring
can
her
I
right
say?
back.
I paved the way.
You do. You're a good paver.
Yeah.
I have it too.
All right, so those were good conversations. Thank you, guys, and thank you for listening to us. Again, if you enjoyed this conversation, please subscribe and like, and also watch our videos that we post on YouTube. And just spread the love. If you like it, also tell your friends about it. Everything.
You feel the love
tonight. It can be something assumed many days. Us our history. In short, our pal is doomed.
Doomed.
That's
Part of the song?
Yes, it's the very end
He's
where
falling
Timon
in
and
love,
Pumbaa.
and they're like, he's not.
Oh, dude,
Because I don't remember the rest of it, and so I'm just like kind of jump to the end, the part that I do remember.
Every time I hear the word doom, I just think of Invader Zim. Because that's like a con. Yeah. They say doom all the time. Doom. The
It's
whole
the Doom
universe
song.
is doomed.
So
Anyways.
good. Anyway, so thank you for watching for They Said, She Said. This has been a fantastic episode. And I have been your host, Nicholas Brady. You can follow me on Twitter at Brady_Nicholas. That's Brady, Brady _Nicolas. And if you'd like to suggest, that's the word I'm looking for. If you have a topic that you'd like us to discuss, please tweet me with the hashtag They Said She Said, and we will discuss that. So again, thank you so much. Next to me is your host, Chris Fox.
Yep. You can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/Fox's Den Vlog, FOXSDENVLOG. And yeah. I'm actually going to be starting potentially another channel.
Whoa!
Called 2 Cent News.
Whoa.
We'll see how that goes. I had the idea a while ago, tested it out. It went okay, but I got lazy. So did not continue doing, but I think I'm going to go back to it. So yeah.
Well, good luck
2
with
Cent
that.
News, you can find it. It's on
It kind of
YouTube.
looks like you were intimidating him with the whole.
Yeah.
He was like,
and
I'm sorry.
I'm done, man.
I'll
okay.
Here, you can have it. Whatever.
give it to me. I'm sorry, man. I'll give
He
you
had
that.
like his gun, or his fingers in like a gun thing.
Yeah,
For those of you listening.
Pointing. Yeah.
Well, good luck with that.
Thank you.
I hope you stick with it and that goes
Yeah.
well. And your other co-host is Millie Ludwig.
Yep, and you can find me on YouTube. My channel is Millix, MILLEXX.
All right, and thank you again so much for listening. Oh, on a side note, we are we might be doing some rebranding
Yes.
Yes.
of it. So
What's to come?
So if it happens, it might happen in the next couple episodes where it will be just under a different name. So
Hoop Shoot Boogie is what we're pitching right now.
Yeah, shoot that.
Let us know if you like it.
All right. So just FYI, and again, everyone out there, thank you so much for listening or watching, and remember to have a conversational week.